I thought we were ready.
I was ready. I was ready because I was like, this is Laura's turn. I'm just going to sit here. All right.
Belle, I have thought-provoking questions for you today.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay.
Drive the highway down the moon, past the billboard where you see me, see me, ask the people for their king.
Welcome back to the Silver Nitrate Witches Movie Review Brew, the podcast where we talk about how we talk about movies, and we are your Silver Nitrate Witches. I'm Isabelle Lang, a writer, academic editor, and tarot reader.
And I'm Laura Valenza, a writer and editor at the Brooklyn Rail. And today I'm going to be presenting on Get Smart, which I just realized that I nowhere wrote the year. Oh, 2008.
2008, yeah. I was like, I know that off the top of my head because
I was like, wait, there's got to be like a newspaper article in here with a date somewhere. And I saw it.
Yes. We are still hanging out in the early 2000s this week, or heading back to the early 2000s. I forget what order these are going to be in.
Yeah, I think we jump forward and then we come back to this, but
yeah. So get out your hair straighteners and skinny jeans.
Yup.
Yep.
Okay.
So Get Smart. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2008. We're talking about Get Smart, which was a spy movie spoof. It was a remake of a TV show that aired from 1965 to 1970.
Oh, I didn't know it was a TV show. I thought it was a movie.
Wait, you didn't know that?
I didn't. I knew it was like a remake of a movie, of something from that era, but I definitely just thought it was a movie. That's so fun.
No, it was a TV show, and that's going to be one of our big topics today is can you or can you not adapt TV into film?
Okay. I love it.
So the show was created by Mel Brooks and Buck Henry.
Oh my god, that makes so much fucking sense.
And one critic actually described it as Brooks's, quote, comic response, end quote, to James Bond.
Yeah.
So if you think about like that time period and Mel Brooks, that makes sense. So Get Smart 2008, the movie we're talking about, was directed by Peter Siegel, who also directed 50 First Dates, which I hate that movie. But that's not the movie we're talking about today.
Why do you hate that movie? I love that movie.
Really? I thought it was like so annoying and then kind of really depressing.
I mean, yeah, no, it's definitely depressing at, certain parts, but I think I feel, I don't know, maybe it's less of the movie that I like and more of I really like Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore as like a romantic chemistry couple. I think they work really together, strangely enough.
I do like them together because I'm not a big Adam Sandler fan, but I will say The Wedding Singer is one of the only of his movies I actually like.
It's so good. Okay, so interesting. So he also directed 50 First Dates.
50 First Dates. Yes, I am very jealous of Drew Barrymore's hair in that movie, though. And it was written by Get Smart. We're going back to Get Smart. Was written by Tom J. Astle and Matt Ember, who also wrote the movie Failure to Launch.
Huh.
Which I don't actually remember that movie. I don't know if I ever saw it, but,
it's,
other comedic movie from around the same time.
Yeah, I definitely...
Jennifer Garner and Matthew McConaughey?
Definitely Matthew McConaughey. Oh, no. Carrie. Shit, what's her name? Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I actually feel like I might have seen part of it, but I don't know if I saw all of it.
I've definitely seen it, because if anytime we're focusing on the early 2000s, there's a 90% chance any of the movies we're discussing are ones that I have seen solely because my sister worked at Blockbuster during that time and would bring these movies home. So are
our early aughts correspondent. You are our Blockbuster correspondent.
Our Blockbuster correspondent. Yeah, so I definitely have seen it, but I remember being just whelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, not over or under.
Be whelmed.
I was just whelmed. I don't remember much about it. It was all right. Justin Bartha is in it from National Treasure, and he's a delight always, so.
Yeah, well, that's fun. But anyway, back to Get Smart, which stars Steve Carell and Anne Hathaway. And then it really has like a ton of huge names in it, even in very small parts. Yeah, so we have Dwayne Johnson.
Yes.
We have Terrence Stamp, who plays Siegfried, the bad guy.
What do we know him from? Because I know he's supposed to be recognizable, but...
So from what I gathered in the reviews, he was known for doing evil villains.
Oh.
But I found that really funny because I only know him from the 1968 neo-realist movie called Teorema.
Of course you do.
In which he plays...
You're our weird, obscure art film correspondent.
But I think he was the bad guy in, like, Spider-Man movies. I think that's why normal people know him.
Okay. Got it.
I'm gonna check for you. Hang on.
Because I thought at first, because I did look him up partway through the movie, just his name, because at first I wondered if he was supposed to be, oh god, now I can't.
Oh, he's in Superman movies, which I have never watched a Superman movie.
Definitely not.
Okay, so not Spider-Man. I apologize to people who are fans of superheroes.
I thought he was supposed to be, I thought he was Malcolm McDowell at first, and then I was like, no, that's not him.
I did not, I mean, Teorema is so old. I did not recognize, I had to read. You
recognized him
credits.
by name.
Yeah.
Not
to
by
realize
face.
that was him.
Yeah. Funny.
It's actually
okay.
a really good movie. Highly recommend it. Got an extremely handsome stranger who seduces a very conservative family, like every single family member, and then their lives all fall apart when one day he's like, okay, my time's up here, I gotta go.
Fascinating.
It's really good. It's also a very a very experimental novel.
Okay.
I have too many windows open. Now I can't find my script again. Okay, we're back.
We were talking about actors. Who else?
Okay, so Terrence Stamp is our bad guy. We have Bill Murray in A Tree.
Bill Murray? We just talked about this like 2 days ago, and I still forgot about Bill Murray in A Tree.
And that's the whole bit, is that Bill Murray's character is very concerned he's going to be forgotten about in that tree.
Yep.
And if you don't understand that, I think we'll not explain it. You'll just have to watch the movie.
No, you just have to watch the movie.
Yeah. We have James Caan makes a couple cameos as a very Bush-like president.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Doing the whole thing where he's like reading
to the kids.
Moon.
Yeah.
While the country's falling apart and he can't pronounce nuclear.
Oh my god, yeah.
And then Alan Arkin plays Chief of Control, the not CIA secret government agency.
I love Alan Arkin.
And then we have Terry Crews.
Terry Crews!
In a totally ridiculous little role.
Yeah, but great all the same. Love him.
Yes, yeah. So the movie's rated PG-13. It's almost 2 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out in the summertime in 2008. And I have a couple New York Times articles that suggested that they thought it was unusual that the summer decided to emphasize comedies and not so many sequels. They thought summer was more for sequels, apparently.
That's interesting, because I would say summer is like the time for like comedies and actions, and this I would describe as an action comedy.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about like what you expect for a summertime movie, which I think will be an interesting conversation here.
Do they mean like a summertime movie like in general, or did they mean like this is what they were predicting for this summer 2008 specifically?
A summer release in general.
Okay, that's interesting. I would have never said summers are like the season of sequels.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would have to look at when sequels came out to really weigh in on that, but I have never observed it personally.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they also seemed a little surprised by the comedies coming out because they pointed out this was the award season of No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood. Are two very different movies from Get Smart.
Get Smart, yeah. A little bit.
And I actually am not sure what other, like, comedies were really coming out at this moment, but they said that it was in competition with another comedy that was opening the same weekend. And so there was kind of some build-up to...
Did they say what that other one was?
Yes, and I have...
We're getting to it. I'll wait.
I have a little story that I'm going to read some from I'm going to read from that really ridicules it.
Oh, okay. I'm excited.
So there was a little bit of like which of these types of comedies is going to rule the weekend. And then just kind of continuing on this, like, expectations for the box office and for summertime movies. There's an article called Get Smart, Crowd-Pleasing Action Comedy by Tim Venhouse, chief film reviewer, The Waterloo Republic Times from Illinois, written on June 18th, 2008. So, not a big fan of Get Smart.
What a shame.
One of his quotes is, "But the script was just another spy versus spy movie with ridiculous action scenes, which the audiences will enjoy nevertheless." End quote.
Can I just say, bringing that up specifically, I love a weird little making fun of spies story. And I did not realize how much I loved that as a genre specifically until I was rewatching this. And so I was kind of listing them in my notes, like, this one, excellent. All of the Austin Powers movies, Spy Hard that came out in the 90s that was also kind of like a joke about James Bond, Spies Like Us, Chuck, this weird little genre of like, we're just gonna make fun of the intelligence industry because it's silly and ridiculous. I love it. I love it so much.
So that is something it's going to come up more. And I was going to ask you about that because I think part of the debate here is Get Smart, the TV show, probably would have been one of the first instances of spoofing
That's the
spy
word.
movie.
Interesting.
Specifically James Bond. Though I always thought James Bond, I'm not super familiar with the really old James Bond movies, but I thought they were kind of supposed to be a little campy.
I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
I've only
guess
ever
it depends
seen
on the
the
Bond too.
Yeah, I've only ever seen the Daniel Craig, and I do know like each of the
Same,
Bonds.
and those are really serious.
Those are so intense, and
Yeah.
I do understand like it's the different kinds of Bonds have different vibes. So because I thought
what a sentence.
well, never mind. We're not going to get into James Bond. I could anyway, but yeah,
Yeah, that could be a whole. We could have a whole
that's a
season
whole
of that.
season.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, so I think that's really interesting to bring up. I'm glad you mentioned Chuck, because I totally forgot about Chuck, because there was definitely like a sense of like, oh, by the time we get to 2008, has the spy movie spoof been done too many times? And is it really able to be successful anymore? But Chuck
Chuck came out around that time.
must have been around that same time. It was a TV show, not a movie. Another thing we're going to be talking about a lot. But I think Chuck was like one of the greatest like satires I've ever seen. I love Chuck.
It's like often a direct play on themes and characters and bits from Spies Like Us. They have like specific like references to like words or products or people in the film, and so it's great that way. 2011, so 2007. Yeah.
Oh, so almost totally content. Well, I mean, like it would have been like in season 2 at this point. Yeah. So that's kind of an interesting debate that's going to come up. Yeah. So, I think something that is interesting about Chuck is that as much as it's a spoof, it's also kind of an homage.
Yes, that's the word. Homage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's something maybe that's kind of a fine line to walk. It's interesting. I don't think the word homage appeared in any of the reviews we're going to talk
because
about
I
today.
would say in the same way, Get Smart feels like a bit of a spoof and also an homage. It's a spoof because the original Get Smart is, but it is an homage to the original Get Smart as well,
Totally.
like with the car and the shoe phone and everything.
Yeah. So our buddy Tim also said, quote, "Crowds shouldn't be disappointed since it is the summer and you're in the movie theater to see stuff get blown up," end quote. So,
which is
so
funny because it doesn't end up getting blown up in the end. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, are we going to do the plot in a minute?
We are going to do the plot in a minute, but I want to finish box office information.
But yeah, funny because it doesn't actually get blown up. All right.
Yeah. So there's another article from the Times film critic at Tampa Bay, or I don't know if he's at Tampa Bay Times or if this is a reprint. I actually think this guy might be a New York Times writer. But But I found this in the Tampa Bay Times from St. Petersburg, Florida, June 24, 2008. Steve Purcell writes an article called "Sometimes All You Need Is Faith. Moviegoers flock to Get Smart while the love guru gets the reception it deserves."
God, yeah. I forgot about that movie.
I don't think I ever watched that movie, but it looks real cringy.
That is one of that era that I did not watch. I do not know if my sister brought it home from Blockbuster, but yeah, it looked real weird.
Yeah, so it was a Mike Myers movie, and...
Oh, is that the other comedy that it's...
That was the other comedy.
Okay.
So there's a big, is Get Smart or the Love Guru going to win, because they were opening the same weekend, and I
the
guess...
Barbenheimer of the era, if you will.
Sure. But I have to read this opening to this article because it is so ridiculous.
Oh, God. Okay.
Once in a while, something happens with the weekend box office results that reaffirms my faith in the movie-going public. This time, it's the fact that moviegoers said go away rather than namaste. That's yoga speak to the love guru.
You know, sometimes I read these things and I wonder, how did these people get these jobs?
Why can't I have one?
Right? Like,
Yeah.
We could do that so much better.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So much less offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as you can tell, Get Smart did beat out the Love Guru, which does look as cringy as it sounds. He also went on to say, of course, Myers will shrug it off as the studio's fault for opening the Love Guru on the same weekend as Get Smart. You rarely see two films of the same genre with stars appealing to the same demographics going head to head like that, especially in summertime. Steve Carell's commanding 3-1 advantage over Myers in ticket sales makes the complaint moot.
That seems a little rude to throw on Mike Myers, but okay.
Yeah. Interestingly, who also was in a famous series of
Austin Powers, as I just
spoofs.
brought up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, this movie comes out. It is the #1 debut at 39.2.
Wait, Get Smart?
Get Smart comes out. It's #1 over the weekend, and it earns $39.2 million at the box office. And for perspective, the next highest ranking movie on the list made $21.7 million. So,
and was it The Love Guru?
No, I think it was like Kung Fu Panda or something.
Oh, also another excellent film.
So, let's talk about, now that we have all the context, what Get Smart is about.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it follows Maxwell Smart, who is played by Steve Carell.
Icon.
And Max is an analyst for Control, which is basically like the CIA, except they're not the CIA, and they're kind of CIA rivals.
Yeah.
It's not real agency.
It's just fictional intelligence agency.
Yes, that in this movie exists in like the basement of the Smithsonian Museum.
Right. Yes.
Yes.
Underneath an exhibit for Control, which everybody believes was disbanded in the 70s.
Right. And the exhibit's got all the gadgets from the
original
TV show.
Yeah.
Which do come back later in the movie. Delightfully so, I thought.
I loved that, yeah.
Yeah. So Max works for Control. He has been trying for ages to become an agent instead of an analyst. He's kind of a total nerd, but like a really sweet one. He's
earnest.
He's very earnest. He does the most thorough reports for Control, and he finally passes the test to become an agent. He wants to be like, this is where Dwayne Johnson comes in. He wants to be like Dwayne Johnson, who's like
Agent
cool.
23.
Yes, who can like catch a fly in his hand.
Yes.
Badass. Yes. So Max wants to become an agent, but he gets bad news from the chief, Alan Arkin, who says that he really needs guys like Max doing the analytical work because nobody works as hard as Max does.
And he says, too, something interesting. He's like, I try to tell all these people that it's like, it's people who garner intelligence, not technology. Like, Max is so good at what he does because he writes like a 600-page report about a conversation between two Russian agents over coffee and looks at all of these psychological things like, well, this guy's having a muffin, which is fattening, which means he's stressed. And this other guy is drinking decaf because his wife made him sleep on the sofa. And it actually turns out to be like really useful intelligence that comes later on. And nobody else is working like him on that.
Yeah, I love how the details from that do come back
yes.
later in the movie. That was really funny. So Max will not be replaced by artificial intelligence.
Thank God.
Yeah. But, of course, we're rooting for this sweet, earnest guy, and we're disappointed with him that he doesn't get a chance to do his dream job. And then Control gets attacked, and Max is the only person qualified to be an agent who can go out in the field because the identities of all the Control agents have been compromised by Chaos. The
KAOS.
KAOS. It's an acronym. We have no idea what it stands for, but they are the bad guys. They are the agents of chaos.
Yes. Everybody is compromised except for Max because he's not been in that field, or Agent 99 because she has just gone under extensive plastic surgery for some reason.
Well, she needed a new face so she could keep doing her job.
Right. And her new face is
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
But she looks younger than she actually is because she figured why not have them take a few years off.
Yes. I couldn't actually find out whether it was the case, but she shows Max a picture of herself before her surgery at some point. I think that picture might supposed to be the woman who originated the role of Agent 99 in the television series.
That's what I thought it was.
But I did a lot of research. I did like 20 seconds of Googling and I could not confirm that, but that's what I believe to be the case.
Okay. That's what I believe, too. I thought that was supposed to be a joke from the old show. So Agent 99, who's beautiful, and they already had a little meet cute. Mm-hmm. So Agent 99 and Max now they head to Moscow right away, right? Or Russia, at least, right? To try to track down arms dealers and chaos and bad guys and try to figure out what's going on.
Who's got the yellow cake uranium?
Yes, and there's going to be nuclear weapons, and Siegfried wants to bomb the United States.
That's the bad guy.
Siegfried's the bad Terrence Stamp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like your standard action movie at that point. It's a bunch of, like, fights and chase scenes and stuff like that.
They go undercover at a ball in fancy gowns and tuxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's lasers slinging around a room that you have to, like, maneuver through.
Right. And then, like, and everybody, of course, has to, like, get all dressed up at some point and look very suave and fancy. And then they find the bakery where the yellow cake uranium is being made. And I love the whole detail where Max is like, I planted explosive devices so we can, like, detonate the entire thing. And Anne Hathaway is like, but it's nuclear, you're gonna blow everything up. And he's like, I only put enough to safely bury the weapons. Because that's how that works.
That's how that works. My favorite part of that is when he's like, I see the yellow cake. And she's like, well, it's a bakery. Of course there's cake. And he's like, no, the yellow cake uranium. And then he turns around and he sees a bunch of employees around a table with, like, they're clearly celebrating somebody's birthday at work. And he's like, but there is also yellow cake.
They're clearly celebrating somebody's birthday at work while they're wearing their hazmat.
Yes!
And then they almost don't make it out, though, because Siegfried's henchman, who is this actor who is, like, a wrestler, who's, like, 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. He's in The Neighbors. He's in, not The Neighbors. Oh, my God, no. We're the Millers. He's in Sherlock Holmes, the RDJ one.
Right.
Right. Big hulking European dude with long black hair.
Actually, I think he's Indian.
Is he? I believe you. I apologize.
We should get his name since we're talking about him so much. Let's get his name. Dalit Singh.
Yeah, and that's his character's name as well. Dalit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
He was born in India.
My bad. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't speak a whole lot.
However, he does have one of my favorite lines in the movie because Max uses his intelligence analytics from earlier because he recognizes Dalit's voice, and he tries to tell him how to fix his marriage because he knows he really does love his wife, and
they just have a strange relationship with his sister-in-law.
Yes, and I love when Dalit actually ends up helping them escape and he doesn't pursue them anymore, and he gives Max a big hug and he's crying and he goes, "Her sister's such a bitch."
Yes. So good.
Yeah. So they end up getting away, and then this is where the big plot twist happens, because Dwayne Johnson's character, which number is he? Agent
23.
Agent 23 is sent to do cleanup in Moscow, and he claims that there's no sign of nuclear stuff.
Yellow cake uranium.
Yellow cake uranium anywhere. They end up arresting Max.
Because they think he made it all up.
They think he made it all up, and they think that there's no real threat. But Max gets a message from Dalit on
the American Top 40.
Seacrest. Yeah.
Because they both, Max talks about how he's like, we both love America's sweetheart, Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, so he gets a coded message from Dalit, and he figures out that there's going to be a bomb at Disney Hall during the Ode to Joy performance that the president, James Caan, is going to be at. And he has to escape prison, which is when, stealing like the shoe phone and the car from the museum comes into play, so he can get to LA.
I feel like it's important to note that he steals the car from a museum. He bursts through the doors of the Smithsonian and makes it approximately 1 block down the road before the engine stalls and dies because it has been in a museum exhibit for like 30, 40 years. Great.
This is also a moment where one of my other favorite lines comes in. I love it when Siegfried's like ridiculous henchmen are like, "Oh no, we're gonna blow up all those movie stars that are also going to be there." And Siegfried says, "Yes, what will we do without their razor sharp political advice?"
No, I think the henchman says something like, "I feel bad about all the celebrities who must die," or something like that.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah. So Max makes it to LA in the nick of time, but now he has to convince Chief and Agent 99 that he was telling the truth, and he has a watch, and this was set up earlier in the movie, that when close enough to somebody who's been near nuclear material...
Oh yeah, he's got a Geiger counter on his watch.
Right,
yeah.
That would be the word for it. And he accidentally gets kind of close to Agent 23, and the watch goes off. Dun dun dun. So...
Traitor!
Yes. So then, the world's most ridiculous chase scene ensues, including at one point Max driving across a golf course with the Chief in the passenger seat.
Oh, yeah. And the golfers are like, $20 if you hit the car.
Yeah. And it ends with him accidentally driving through, like, the snack shack or something, and the big, like, swordfish sign on top of this little like snack shack ends up going through the windshield, and Max has a brilliant idea about what to do about the bomb, and he goes, "Chief, are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And the Chief says, "I don't know. Were you thinking holy shit, a swordfish almost went through my head? If so, yes."
That is good. That is oh my god, I cackled.
Yeah. Other highlights from this chase scene is that the Chief commandeers airplane.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
one of those airplanes with an
signs. Advertisement, yeah.
Yes, and Max ends up having to like crawl down the rope and onto the sign to try to get down to the car that Agent 23 is driving with Agent 99 kidnapped in it. And the ad is a suicide hotline, and it says 1-800 don't do it.
Oh, I forgot about
that.
With
Max like just dangling from the back.
About to die. I also love when the chase scene ends up on the railroad tracks. I forget how the SUV gets stuck on I guess it's like the gas pedal is stuck down, or they're like going head on for a train.
I don't know. And the tires have all burst, so the rims somehow are perfect for them to be like riding down the railroad tracks like a train.
And in a very dramatic moment, to like try to save things, Max throws 99 off of the tracks so she can land safely on the ground. And I actually wrote in my notes that, believe it or not, this is the second time this week I have encountered a story where a man throws a woman that he loves off of a train track. This also almost shot for shot happened in the book that I was reading a few days before.
Well, it is one of those classic / cliche action movie story moments. I also love when they're fighting Agent 23 and it comes out that Agent 23 is Agent 99's ex, who I think compromised her identity previously. But I like when he's complaining that she's not feminine enough, and she goes, "I'm not feminine," and like punches
whaps
him,
him,
kicks him or something. Yeah.
So like she like rings her foot around and kicks him in the face or something. Gorgeous.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So basically they end up like finding the bomb. Hilarity ensues. Max is the hero. He gets the girl.
Yep.
That's it. Anything else to add to our plot?
Steve Carell kisses Dwayne Johnson at one point to distract him.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I did tell you I have a delightful 1-paragraph story about Dwayne Johnson that has nothing to do with anything else we're going to talk about.
Yay!
So we'll come back to that little nugget at the end.
Awesome.
So a couple of things too that I just want to bring up generally before we get into specific reviews. Steve Carell had said in some of these articles that he did not want to impersonate Don Adams, the original portrayer of Maxwell Smart.
Yeah.
He felt that Adams was a different type of comedian than him, and he was excellent at what he did, and, you know, Carell felt that to try to impersonate was not gonna be a worthwhile path to go down.
That's fair.
There are also some interesting comparisons that come up in the reviews. Obviously, spoofing James Bond. Comparisons to Austin Powers come up a lot. And one person compared Carell to Chevy Chase.
In Spies Like Us, I suppose.
No, he didn't say Spies Like Us, but I guess that must have been what he was thinking of.
See, because I would say he's a lot more like Dan Aykroyd in Spies Like Us. So I'm not quite getting the Chevy Chase. Yeah, no, those are not two comedians I would say are similar. Not in a bad way, but like, no. No.
Yeah.
No. Interesting.
Yeah. So we have a couple of themes we're going to explore that are all
God, now I want to watch Spies Like Us. I might have to do that this weekend. Sorry.
I kind of want to watch it too because I did watch it once like a year ago, but I have to admit I think I fell asleep during like the last half hour.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have a couple of themes that are going to drive our conversation today, and they are all very closely interconnected. So we're going to start with the whole question of, can you remake a TV show as a movie? Which, I mean, Hollywood does a lot. But a lot of the reviews really focused on whether or not they should.
Interesting.
And then we're going to talk about nostalgia versus the newcomers. Like whether or not nostalgia actually helped the reception of this movie or hurt the reception of the movie. And whether or not being a newcomer to the story helped, or if you did need to know the old story to fully get it.
Okay. I like it.
And then both of these things, this might not seem obvious now, but I think you're going to start seeing it as we go through some of the reviews. We're going to talk about kind of this, how nostalgia could be conservative or liberal, depending on how people are looking back. Some people felt the movie was too modern and the TV show was more old-fashioned and traditional. Others felt the movie wasn't edgy enough and the TV show was the edgier one. So we'll talk about that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about, because we are in our Anne Hathaway grimoire, we'll talk specifically about how reviews addressed Anne Hathaway's presence in this movie. And again, I think she's about 25 in this movie. So this is one of her earliest.
She would be 27 in 2008. So like maybe, 25 or 26 when it was being filmed. Probably, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with moving from the small screen to the big screen and how people responded to this idea of adapting a television show into a film. So we're coming back to Steve Purcell.
Oh, okay. And that's a critic?
Yes.
That
was...
My brain for a minute was like, did she mean Steve Carell?
No, Steve Purcell.
Got you. Okay.
The critic who we talked about earlier who made the really, really bad pun about the Love Guru.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, so he's back.
Oh, great.
So this article, he wrote about this movie a couple times. So this article is called Good Thinking, Max, the movie version of the comedy spy TV show Get Smart, Gets It Right.
Oh, okay.
So Purcell says, like seemingly every other TV hit, Get Smart is now updated and expanded to a feature film. Unlike most of them, this one works. It occurred to me during a screening of Get Smart that Brooks and Henry would appreciate what has been done with their creation. Then I saw their names listed as consultants for the movie. I'm guessing it isn't just a courtesy credit.
Okay.
Yeah. So Purcell is very, saw adapting it for a movie as a very positive thing. Though I wouldn't say it was expanded to a feature film. Kind of feel like it would have had to have been contracted into a feature film.
Right, yeah.
But, yeah. So he also goes on to say, other remakes of classic TV series are fashioned by filmmakers convinced that the original was junk and they can do it better. Everyone connected with Get Smart realizes the original was classic and can't be done better, so they want to do it right. And most of the time, they do.
Does he give examples of the times when things are junk? Quote.
Now, I was also actually trying to think of, what movies are there that were made off of TV shows?
I know, I keep thinking of Starsky and Hutch, but I don't know if that was a TV show or a movie. No, yeah, okay, that was a television series, and they made that into a movie in 2004. That's the only one I could think of, and...
I know, because a lot of these articles talk about...
Oh, The Dukes of Hazzard, I think maybe also came out around that time.
I don't know, okay. Because a lot of these articles do talk about, here goes Hollywood remaking TV shows into movies, and it's like...
Do you have a citation?
Yeah, examples are not coming to mind.
Yeah. And also, that seems an unfair motive to put on filmmakers to say, they think it's junk and they could do it better, unless somebody actually said something that intimated that.
It does feel like a weird comment to make without being for example, this movie, and that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think it's true. Like I said, the reviews I was reading, Carell did not want to impersonate Adams.
Yeah.
They didn't want to just, try to do the same thing as a movie. They wanted to honor it and do something different.
Yeah.
I do get where some of this criticism of adapting from television comes from, because I do get where it's kind of frustrating when you feel like you're just watching the same stories over and over again in Hollywood, and it feels like, rather than actually do something original, you're going to just mine things that have already been done.
Yeah.
So,
I agree there.
Anyway, Purcell finishes up with, quote, if movies are to depend on TV for inspiration, then Get Smart does it with respectful flair. Would you believe it? End quote. I don't really get the would you believe it. I'm like...
Yeah, it feels like he's trying on clever things to sound funny and nobody's stopping him or editing them out.
So let's move on to Manola Darghi from the New York Times, writing on June 20th, 2008, in an article called More Deadpan, but Still a Bumbler. So I just had to read the first paragraph of this article because I think Belle will have a reaction.
Oh my, okay.
Here we go. Reviewing a movie like Get Smart is pretty much like writing about the new packaging of a laundry detergent. The box may be a brighter orange, the label a little louder, improved. Kind of. But the stuff inside is pretty much the same as the stuff inside every box of detergent. And in this case, the stuff inside consists of exactly what most Hollywood movies based on old sitcoms are made of. Namely, feeble and funny jokes, brand actors, and enough special effects to give you some bang for your summertime buck.
Again, I would like examples of these Hollywood turning TV. Like, why? We've named 3, and granted, they were all kind of in the same time period, but still, like, that doesn't seem like enough of a, like, that doesn't seem like a statistically significant number to warrant. This is the same as every other movie that does this. I feel like there's also not a lot of special effects in this movie, so I'm not quite sure what she's talking about.
Oh, but like all the explosions and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and,
I
like,
guess the
chasing
explosions. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I think Moscow was all special effects.
Oh, okay.
They did not actually film in Moscow. Let's see. I'm looking up some of these movies from TV
Right!
shows.
Like, this is such a strange thing to harp on.
I'm going to go for ones that I actually recognize. 21 Jump Street.
Oh, yeah, I do. I love that movie, though. That's such a good movie.
Okay, wait. The next one that I recognize, The Addams Family. And I love The Addams Family.
Yes.
Let's see here.
But the Addams Family movie, when did... Oh, no, I guess that was the same time period. I guess I thought it was the 90s.
No, The Addams Family, I think, was the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. God, now I want to watch 21 Jump Street.
Oh, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
We don't talk about that one.
The Avengers?
Yes, but nobody calls those like a film made from a TV show. They are all more classified as like a movie made from a comic. So like, yes, technically, but no, I don't think it falls into the same category.
Well, I mean, to that point, then they have all the Batman movies.
Right, yeah, again.
Yeah. Baywatch, Beavis and Butthead.
There was a Beavis and Butthead movie?
Apparently.
I remember Baywatch because I think Zac Efron was in it.
Oh, Bewitched.
Oh, yeah.
They made a movie
around
the same time as this, 2005.
Okay, all right. It's... I am seeing now where these critics are coming from, but I still would have appreciated some examples in their articles.
Yes. Give us example. Oh, the Brady Bunch movie. The Brady Bunch movie is actually really funny, though. Have you ever seen the Brady Bunch movie?
No. Is that the one where the Sure Jan meme comes from?
Probably. It's been a long time since I saw it, but it is actually, like, very funny.
Is it like a spoof of the Brady Bunch? Or is it... Yeah, okay. Then that's...
Okay, so going back to Manohla Darghi from the New York Times, she also says, quote, Mr. Adams, a stand-up comic who delivered all his dialogue like one-liners and seemed 2 jokes and 1 unfastened brassiere away from a gig at the Playboy Mansion.
I'm sorry, who's she's talking about right now?
She's talking about Don Adams, who played the original Maxwell Smart.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that I just brought that line in here because, I don't know, it's a ridiculous line. It doesn't seem like she was that big of a fan of the TV show either. Though we're going to read other quotes from her about the TV show that it's a very mixed review. She has complicated feelings, and I don't know that she reconciles any of them.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, like, part of the reason why I bring up... Let me read that line again. So she's got these 2 lines that kind of come close together in her review. One about the original Maxwell Smart, where she says, Mr. Adams, a stand-up comic who delivered all his dialogue like one-liners and seemed 2 jokes and 1 unfastened brassiere away from a gig at the Playboy Mansion. And then she's got another line where she talks about Steve Carell and the contemporary Get Smart. And she says, it's one thing for Max to be funny, to be an intermittent important foil, but if he's... That might have been impotent. It's one thing for Max to be funny, ... But if he's to carry the day and maybe even a franchise, he has to be genuinely heroic. So that's another thing that I noticed, like, coming up in these reviews, is there seemed to be, like, implications that Hollywood was looking for something that they could make into a series.
Oh, okay.
And I thought that was just sort of interesting to think about, like, how do you have to change the hero if he has to carry an entire lucrative franchise? So I think there's a lot of backlash against this just being a Hollywood blockbuster.
People like fun movies. Jeez.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it because on the one hand, I do agree. I think there's like a lot of formulaic stuff that doesn't leave room for new types of storytelling in Hollywood, and I don't like that. At the same time, like, I don't know, it was a fun movie and I don't want to think about it that deeply.
Right, yeah, it's tough. It's tough because, like, we're also coming to this from a place of almost zero familiarity with the original TV show.
Yes.
Like, I knew it was a remake of something. I didn't know it was a remake of the TV show, but I wasn't even familiar with, like, the original movie that I thought it was. Like, to me, this is just, like, a funny, fresh film, when I think a lot of that would have been the case for a lot of the viewing audience. So it's weird.
It is interesting. There is an article where Anne Hathaway refers to it as family humor. And I was thinking about it, like, I don't know that I would really think much of this movie at all if I saw it now. But I think the reason why I still enjoy it is because I saw it when it came out when I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really, really funny to me. And I think maybe I had been watching Chuck at that time. I don't remember if I watched Chuck when it came out or if I watched it later. But I don't think that I had actually really... I mean, I guess I'd probably seen some clips from Austin Powers, but I don't think I really ever saw, like, a funny spy movie. I mean, to me, spy movies were the Daniel Craig, James
Yeah.
So
Very different.
Very different. So I think to me, this was just, like, really funny. It had... I think there was probably a lot of, like, oh, I grew up with, like, Anne Hathaway being...
the Princess of Genovia.
The Princess of Genovia and Mia, and it was fun. I think it was fun going into high school, no longer being a little girl, seeing her also
Oh, yeah.
look sexy and beautiful and powerful and, you know, fierce and a good fighter, you know? So, like, I think there was a lot that just appealed to me at the moment. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I was the target demographic for a movie like this when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. So, yeah, it is a tough, like, I don't think there's a right answer for, like, is it okay to like it even though it's, like, you know, a formulaic big Hollywood blockbuster? It's weird.
I will also say, like, I mean, yeah, there are a lot of formulaic Hollywood blockbusters that bother me. Mm-hmm. But, you know, even rewatching this movie for this episode, like, it is really funny.
It's really
funny.
It's
very funny. It's got plenty of offbeat moments. Like, it's aware of the formula and is playing with it in fun ways.
Yeah.
You know, I can understand wanting it to do more of that, but at the same time, I'm like, if it does too much more of that, it then isn't a fun movie anymore.
Yeah.
So, I do think that, like, the TV show Chuck does a much better job at playing with that stuff.
Yes.
I think Chuck gets more sophisticated than Get Smart.
But I think Chuck also has the advantage of being a series.
Right, they have
and
a lot
having
of
the
time. Yeah, they have a lot of time. They can, all of those, like, ridiculous side characters can take on their own small plots that play into making it more dimensional and interesting. Yeah. So... I have one more article I want to, like, read some quotes from about this whole can you get away with adapting a TV show into a movie thing. And this article also starts bringing up this idea of nostalgia. And I said that one of our big themes after the TV to movie theme is the nostalgia versus the newcomer.
Yeah.
So, this article is called Agent of Reinvention. Sorry about that, Chief, by David Carr, writing in the New York Times on June 15th, 2008. He starts with, quote, "So, the old turn a beloved TV show into a hit movie trick, eh?" End quote.
Wow.
And yes, that was all hyphenated.
Well, that's how it does it in the movie, I guess.
Yeah. So he starts bringing in that part of what you're gambling on when adapting a TV show like this is that it will play on people's sense of nostalgia. So He says, quote, watch nostalgia craving hordes pour into the theater, end quote. And then he also brings up, though, the idea of the newcomer too, because then he says, quote, consider that the youthful demographic that makes or breaks an opening weekend knows nothing of the backstory and glories of Maxwell Smart, end quote. So I guess this article came out like a few days before the movie was actually released. So there was kind of a like, how is this going to go? Is it going to be that people who remember the show, who feel nostalgic, are going to pour into the theater? But then if the teenagers like us at that time are the people who are mostly going to movies, would that then work against this movie? So that was like the big bet here. So let's see. He also talks about, quote, over the course of the uneasy union between contemporary Hollywood and television's past, many expensive attempts to put new rubber on old tires have blown apart in plain view, end quote. Though we just found some examples in which it actually worked pretty well. Addams Family, thought was great. Brady Bunch movie. It's good.
Starsky and Hutch. I still love Starsky and Hutch. That movie is so hilarious to me. We don't talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender movie.
No. I mean, I would be with this critic on that one. Yeah. So, I think he does bring up, so this kind of is going to start getting into, like I said, there's actually an interesting, like, conservative versus liberal thing that starts appearing. Oh,
yeah, you did say that.
And this is where I think he starts to introduce that here. So he says, was Get Smart really that good? Or did it just arrive at a moment when we were ready to laugh at the excesses of the Cold War and the sinister, goofy efforts to beguile our enemies? Because remember, the TV show came out in 1965 and was on
he's talking about
70.
the original.
Yeah, the original.
Oh, okay. I was like, so 2008 is not immediately after the Cold War, but okay, buddy.
No, the TV show. So that's like another question that is going to come up again and again, is that there was a political element to the TV show because of its historical context. And does that really work when you try to adapt that to 2008?
I see. Okay. That's interesting. I'm immediately, again, thinking of Spies Like Us in that, because it is also about the Cold War and kind of out at that same time. And
right.
I agree. I think you can replicate some of the comedy from that, again, if somebody were to remake it, but the political climate would be very different. Oh, hello, Gus.
Right, and they did in the movie... Aw, Gus. They did in the movie try to still take some, like, political stabs. I mean, like I said, there's the... James Caan plays, like, somebody who's obviously supposed to be, like, George Bush. And they make fun of him. There's the comment about, like, oh, what will we do without the political commentary?
The sharp political wit.
Yeah, of celebrities or whatever, movie stars. What was the other? There were some other... I mean, there's lots of, like, the infighting between different government agencies.
Oh, my God.
There's a real threat happening.
The Homeland Security hold line is my favorite bit of the whole thing, where it's like, if you are reporting a domestic threat, please press 1. If you are reporting, like, kidnapping, please press 2. And he's, like, on hold forever trying to report this crime.
Right. And they have a whole bit where Max tries to get gum off his shoe with a match, and they all think he's a shoe bomber on the airplane. Like, and there's... So that part was kind of, like, cringy, especially when they're, like... I feel like they were trying to make fun of the government profiling people, because when Dalip first appears, he is wearing a turban.
Oh, and they have the whole thing where she's like, oh, that's a bad guy. And he's like, people are people. And then he turns around and he's like, oh, yeah, that's a bad guy.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh, God, now I'm profiling people. I feel like that scene didn't really work.
No.
So I do think that's kind of an interesting thing, is it's like they did try to, like, adapt it for the politics of the time. I wouldn't really call it a particularly politically insightful movie, and some of it has not aged super well at this point. So that's kind of, but that's, like, the original was, like, intended to be a spoof. It was satire, so, like, it has to have politics at the heart of it, because this one is not necessarily... Like, the spy spoof movie has been a well-established thing by this point. It doesn't really have anything to satirize anymore. So, I don't know. That's just an interesting thing. We can talk about that more as you hear from other critics, but want to put that out there. It's also interesting, too, because he gets really into the whole, like, can you adapt a TV show into a movie thing? And he even quotes, like, this Syracuse professor, Robert J. Thompson, as saying that converting shows into movies usually, quote, fails, end quote, because they are, quote, incompatible mediums, end quote. I definitely think that it would be a mistake to try to change a movie into a TV show or a TV show into a movie and think that you're going to, like, recreate the same thing.
No.
I don't know. To me, to just say, like, it fails because they're incompatible feels like somebody who's not a very creative person trying to analyze creativity.
I think it can fail if they
Yes.
do turn out to be incompatible, but I think it's up to the writers and the directors and stuff to find the elements that can cross over.
But I also think it's, like, up to them to acknowledge that they are two different mediums that are not compatible with each other and to just lean into that. Mm-hmm. This was kind of interesting. He actually had a little bit of history. Apparently, they tried to make Get Smart into a movie before.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm going to read this paragraph to you. Get Smart ran for 5 years, racking up big numbers and leaving enough of a legacy to inspire The Nude Bomb, an earlier attempt at a movie version. The Nude Bomb, a star-crossed bid in 1980 to revive the ethos and appeal of the series using Don Adams, the original Maxwell Smart, sparked so many damning riffs on the unfortunate name that it is beyond cliche to do so now. Okay, I give. It was neither naked nor explosive, but it did bomb.
I'm trying to make a Naked Gun joke in there somewhere, and I can't quite get to it. So wait, did this movie come out or no?
I think it did come out.
Okay. Yeah, and then it was that bad. Because, like, there's some, I'm reminded now, like,
oh yeah,
because
it came out.
I'm wondering what kind of film that was, though, because I'm reminded right now of Columbo. I watch a lot of Columbo. I love Columbo. And there's, like, the series, but then there's also a handful of, like, movies that just came out on TV. So after the series ended, they would just make, like, 90-minute movies that would appear every once in a while. And those were fairly successful, but because, like, what's the word I'm looking for? The medium was not that different between the TV series Columbo and the film, because the TV episodes are all like 80 minutes apiece anyway. They're basically like little tiny films. And so it was largely indifferent, except that there was just one of them. And so I'm wondering if, like, that was the attempt with the Nude Bomb. They were like, we're just going to make, like, a long episode of Get Smart, or how. I'm very curious as to how that attempt was made, because I think that in that time period, obviously in that time period especially, it can be done successfully, as was illustrated by Columbo, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, apparently Mel Brooks said, quote, maybe the secret is to skip a generation so that you can get the benefit from both nostalgia and discovery.
Well, there you
quote.
go. There you go.
And that brings us to our next theme, nostalgia versus newcomer.
Mm.
All right, so let's talk about those who were nostalgic for the TV show Get Smart and because of that, they were against the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So they were so nostalgic for the old TV show, they just could not...
You know, some people are like that with Star Wars, and I also don't understand those folks, so...
Okay, so Belle is going to really come to Get Smart's defense here.
Well, I mean,
right.
I just, like, because... No, I'm not, because then I'm just going to talk about Star Wars, so I'm going to shut up. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, entering the ring with Belle is Christy Lemire of the Associated Press, and this I found printed in the Aiken Standard from South Carolina, July 3rd, 2008. Lemire gives the movie 1.5 stars out of 4.
Ouch!
Yeah. So here's some highlights from her article. She says, Agent Maxwell Smart himself would have made a more entertaining movie just by picking up a camera and bumbling his way through it. You certainly can't complain about the casting of Steve Carell in the lead role. What other actor has the buttoned-down looks or the self-deprecating sense of humor to fill Don Adams' shoe phone?
I like that. That's good, actually.
I do like the pun. The first line is pretty rude. she says that it all plays out in big, loud, obvious fashion, as if the filmmakers figured the audience wouldn't be interested in the sort of sly absurdity that gave the show its original charm. So she was a big fan of the show. Mm-hmm. She did not want to see it remade into a Hollywood blockbuster. And in a longer reprint of this I found in another paper, she also points out that the show cleverly satirized Gold...
You got it?
No, I don't. Quote, cleverly satirized Cold War espionage has been transformed for the big screen into just another standard action picture. And she also described the supporting cast as wasted. So
Terry Crews is never a waste.
That a pan. All right, so continuing on with those who were nostalgic for the TV show and just could not do the movie, I found Ray Bennett, writing for the Entertainment Newswire, printed in the Index Journal from Greenwood, South Carolina on July 16, 2008. Some highlights from this review are the producers should have handed them, Brooks and Henry, the script rather than just having them consult. Yeah. He called it $80 million worth of formulaic summer movie mediocrity.
Wow.
He said the original show made rude fun of spy movie cliches. But this show, he goes on to say, he says, a lot of things explode, but the movie never detonates.
Which is also true. It doesn't blow up at the end because they save the day. Yeah. Interesting.
That would be a very sad movie if it did. He described the movie as lacking courage, and then I also like this piece of criticism because it kind of is just a fact. He says, it also lacks the late Don Adams.
That is correct.
Yep.
Yep. And I guess what he's probably trying to say there is it's like it lacks the same kind of like humor or like character that he brings. Right. Yeah, Gus agrees.
Which it does, and Steve Carell intentionally played it that way.
I'm curious as to like what again, I would love these critics to like give me some evidence and examples.
I will say, in all fairness to these critics, I'm just giving you highlights from the reviews. Maybe some of them did have more examples.
Yes, yeah. Examples and stuff. Like, because he's like, the way he was describing it, it sounds like he was like, it wasn't doing the brave kind of humor that Get Smart, the TV show, was.
Yeah, that is what he's saying.
And I'm like, what is some of the brave humor the show does that the movie is lacking? And is it just because, like we were saying, we don't have the political aspect of like the Cold War satire?
Yeah, I think that is kind of what they're talking about. And I want to like introduce some of like the problems and benefits of nostalgia first, and then bring in some of the more political comments that people made. But I think it was just the timing of the original TV show and how it very directly was like engaging with Cold War politics that people felt could just not be recreated by a Hollywood blockbuster in 2008, which, you know, is probably true. Yeah. So I have another article from somebody else who also felt very nostalgic and was not ready for a movie. This was from the Index Journal, Greenwood, South Carolina. Came out July 9th, 2008, and it was called A Control Problem. Get Smart Lacks Luster and Woodiness of Original Series by Kirk Honeycutt, writing for the Entertainment Newswire.
Isn't woodiness a bad thing? Like, you don't want your film to be wooden.
Wittiness.
You and that... Okay. You and those T's.
Okay, so some highlights from Honeycutt's article are: Get Smart, the movie, has precious little to do with Get Smart, the iconic TV series from the 1960s, but then again, the movie has precious little to do with screen comedy either.
It's funny.
It's funny. I laughed out loud.
It's funny. I could do without the stupid amount of fat jokes, but I also understand that it was a film from the early 2000s, like diet culture era. I don't agree with it, but I understand like that's why it's there. I could do without all of those, but the rest of it's quite funny.
Yeah, the fat jokes were pretty cringy. Again, I think some of the attempts at making fun of the U.S.'s obsession with terrorism at the time don't come off as more offensive than actually, like, smartly critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of humor that I don't think ended up aging super well. It would be interesting if we'd seen the original series, because I kind of wonder how much of that humor actually aged well, too.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Though I will say, having seen other things Mel Brooks made, he does make very insightful, funny movies.
Mm-hmm.
So this writer also makes... This is the interesting thing, too. It's like, these writers all, like, make digs at each other. Like, those who remembered the TV show and therefore didn't like the movie make digs at younger people who might like the movie. And the younger people who liked the movie and don't remember the TV show make digs at the older critics who were... Yeah, there's a lot of generational warfare happening in these reviews. To that point, this critic writes, "It's hard to see how this lame puppy will gain any box office traction other than by waving the banner of star Steve Carell. His younger fans, who wouldn't know Get Smart from I Spy, might laugh at the overblown action swirling around their poker-faced hero, but are likely to advise friends to wait for the DVD." End quote.
I'm still kind of stuck on he started off with the metaphor about a lame dog and then moved on to a
lame puppy.
And then waving the banner like a surrender of war. He just mixed so many metaphors in there.
I know. It's not... Speaking of bad writing.
Yeah. So?
Yeah. And then, he also questions, like, what was the point of this? So he writes, is this a spoof of an old TV series? Is this a spoof of Ian Fleming? Is this a Carell vehicle? No one seems to know, as familiar lines crop up in the wrong places, and the timing of gags so indelibly rendered in the series misfires on nearly every occasion.
I think if you're a die-hard original Get Smart fan, maybe that is correct. But I don't know. And again, maybe I just have, or we just have a weird point of view because we're coming to it from the other group of having no familiarity with it at all. But I'm like, I thought it was funny. It is a silly, funny movie. That's all it is. It's not trying to do anything else more serious than just be a silly, funny movie.
Well, and then this guy makes a comment, like the previous critic, about the Mel Brooks and Buck Henry being credited as consultants. He writes, "The original series was created by Mel Brooks and Buck Henry, and it's a shame their only contribution here is as consultants. Do you think they're too old to write a Get Smart script? No, we don't think so either."
No one's saying they're too old. Do you know how old Mel Brooks is? He's fucking retired. Mel Brooks is done.
Yeah, he may have been like, sure, you can pay me to remake a movie of my TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's the end of those who were too nostalgic for the TV show to get on board with the movie. Let's talk about people who... So we have a mix here. We're going to start with some people who were too young to remember the TV show. And we also have some people who do remember the TV show, but the nostalgia actually worked for them in this case. So we're going to talk... we're going to hear we're going to hear Kimberly Provious's review from the Teen Speak section of the Indiana Gazette from Pennsylvania, July 8th, 2008. It's called Great Summer Movies to See.
Do we actually know if she's a teen?
Yeah, I think she would have been... I think she's our age. So.
Okay, cool. I like that.
The recreation of the 1960s television series of the same name, the film is loaded with out-of-the-box humor and outrageous action scenes. The characters are original, just like in the series, ranging from the famous control analyst turned field agent Maxwell Smart, aka Agent 86, Steve Carell, The Office, the straight-up and experienced Agent 99, Anne Hathaway, The Princess Diaries, and the duo brains of Control's toys, Bruce and Lloyd. A distinctive new breed of comedy is featured. Though the elements of the film are similar to the Austin Powers series, this film contains substantially less sexual innuendo and more humor appropriate to the secret agent's encounters.
Yeah.
That is her whole review.
That is correct.
Yeah, A+, Kimberly.
Yep.
You did the assignment.
Yep.
Yeah, so then it's interesting, too, because I have another... this was more like a little, list of positive aspects and negative areas. From the Hayes Daily News, Hayes, Kansas, June 23rd, 2008, this guy, Jeff Weigel, lists a ton of positive aspects, and then for negative areas, he said none. And then he added, though, at the end, he said, I'm not too familiar with the original Get Smart, having only seen a few clips from the 1960s TV series. So I thought that was, again, interesting that, again, somebody who didn't really have familiarity with the show came into this with fresh eyes and enjoyed the movie. And then I have got a few clips from kind of like a rave review from The Sun and the Erie County Independent in Hamburg, New York, June 26, 2008. This is called One Smart Film by Matthew Chandler. However, he spells the name Carell wrong the entire review.
Yikes. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, there should have been an editor.
This is not a smart review.
No.
But,
So, I think it's really interesting because, like that previous critic who was really caught up in the nostalgia was like, is this a Carell vehicle? Is it a spoof? I don't know. And it's interesting because Chandler writes, Steve Carell is funny. It's just that simple. If you see his name in a starring role, buy a ticket, period. So it seems like younger, and I guess, with The Office being out around this time, it just seems like younger people were just kind of like down to go watch Steve Carell for 2 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's also interesting too because for all the criticisms of it being formulaic or whatever, like Chandler writes, forget plots or purpose or plausibility. The premise of Get Smart is simple. Give Carell a platform to launch his dry, witty, aw shucks brand of humor. It works brilliantly, and Carell plays off of the exotically beautiful Anne Hathaway and Dwayne, don't refer to me as The Rock anymore, Johnson, very well, and keeps the audience in stitches for much of this film. So I think it's interesting too where he's kind of like, I don't even really care if the plot works or not. Like,
right, and it's
funny.
And the thing is, like, he calls it like it doesn't work or improbable or whatever, and I'm like, well, that's also kind of the point, is because it's a spy spoof. It's not supposed to make...
Well, it's supposed to be funny, so it has to be kind of absurd.
Also weird to describe Anne Hathaway as exotic.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cringy.
And rude to throw in the don't call me The Rock anymore when he has specifically asked you not to do that.
So many people, I guess this must have been one of the earlier movies that Dwayne Johnson was in, because so many people comment on he doesn't want to be The Rock anymore.
Yeah. Well, because for a long time his like name when you did see it in a film that was not like a script, not like a wrestling thing, was Dwayne The Rock Johnson. That's how a lot of people referred to him. But The Rock is a character and not him. So I do love The Rock though. The eyebrow thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know how he does that.
I don't know. I think you just have to be born that way.
You just have to be Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. So Chandler also decides to like confront the critics who felt nostalgic for the TV show and did not like the movie. He says, fans of the television series have lamented that Carell doesn't come anywhere near pulling off Maxwell Smart the way Don Adams did.
Which he didn't want to do. Okay.
No.
Sorry.
And then I think this is actually Chandler low-key calling these critics too old.
Oh!
Because he says, well, I must admit the final of 138 episodes of the hit television show aired a few years before my birth.
Okay, boomer!
Instead, I would say to fans of the television show, you're missing the point.
Kind of, but also, damn.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, there was another article from the Daily Herald out of Illinois, and, like, the article was just full of comments on boomer versus post-boomer.
Oh my god. I was just gonna say, I think a thing that not a theme exactly, but I think a conclusion we often come to in many of our episodes is that, like, sometimes, it's just a movie. Like, critics need to calm the fuck down. Because at the end of the day, it's just a movie that's supposed to be funny and make people laugh and make money, which it did.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing because on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, we all just need, like, movies that are fun and entertaining and make people laugh. On the other hand, I also get it that, like, movies are a powerful cultural tool to either dumb people down or make them think more deeply about things. And I do get the bigger picture frustration of millions of dollars being pumped into movies that don't really add any cultural value to the conversation.
That's fair.
At the same time, I can't watch things that add too much cultural value all the time, or I would go crazy.
No, you need a fucking break every now and then.
You need a break, yeah. Like, I am not here to try to defend Get Smart as that smart of a movie.
No.
Like, I just, for a 15-year-old, it was fun.
It was
and
funny
rewatching
and
it, it was still fun.
Yeah. Anne Hathaway is so pretty. So nice.
So I did cut out all the Anne Hathaway stuff so we can talk about Anne Hathaway at the end, since this is our Anne Hathaway grimoire. So we will get to more Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
But I have one more article in our nostalgia theme category. I think this was a reprint, but I found it in the Daily Record from Omaha, Nebraska, June 19th, 2008. It is called Funny, Exciting, and Preposterous with the Perfect Pitch of Casting by friend of the pod, Roger Ebert.
Roger! Lay it on me!
Alright, this is what he says. Remember how So, like I said, other people said that Mel Brooks and Buck Henry should have been more than consultants. So Ebert writes, the closing credits of Get Smart mention Mel Brooks and Buck Henry, creators of the original TV series, as consultants. Their advice must have been, if it works, don't fix it. There have been countless comic spoofs of the genre founded by James Bond, but Get Smart, both on TV and now in a movie, is one of the best. It's funny, exciting, preposterous, great to look at, and made with the same level of technical expertise we'd expect from a new Bond movie itself. And all of that is very nice, but nicer still is the perfect pitch of the casting.
I'm sorry, it's made with the same level of technical expertise as the modern Bond movies, just had me going. Like, are you sure about that?
I don't know. I mean, now I'm trying to picture, like, Casino Royale, because I'm sure that felt different than, like, whatever the last one.
I guess. The tones of the movies are so different, it's hard to imagine, like, that the technical things are the same. Anyway.
It was interesting, though, because I will say, watching it again, I was like, wow, I forgot, like, how elaborate the chase scenes are and the fight scenes are and stuff. And I was like, I wonder if they did feel some pressure to compete a little bit with the Daniel Craig James Bond movies, just because those would have been so technically advanced that I wonder if they felt like we got to give people more than, like, hokey, campy 60s TV show.
Yeah, Casino Royale just came out a couple, the year, 2 years before that. It was 2006, so, like, when they were starting to produce this, it probably would have been really close. So, that makes sense. That's not entirely untrue. I agree.
And he does say that the filming in Moscow must have been computer generated. So, I think, actually, like, all that scenery was...
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Technical stuff.
It's funny... This thread of, like, bringing up Mel Brooks over and over again, and, like, how people are like, he should have done it, he would have done better, or whatever, reminds me of, and if listeners, you haven't gone over to see Laura's excellent TED Talk on But I'm a Cheerleader, and film criticism around that area, it reminds me of a lot of the things that you say in there about how people were like, this should have been a whatever his name movie. Fuck, what movie? What's the name of the director?
Oh, John Waters.
John Waters. Everyone was like, every other review was like, this should have been a John Waters movie. John Waters should have written this movie. John Waters.
I had this written later in my notes, but Manohla Darghi also said in her review that she thought it should have been made by Stanley Kubrick, and I was like, that's a totally different vibe. That is such a hard left. I'm like, what? And also, I think Stanley Kubrick already made his Get Smart, and it was called Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah! Oh my god. Whoa. Whoa, Manohla. Different vibe entirely. Pump the brakes, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
sorry, let's hear more from Roger.
Yeah, well, he does say, he says more about Bond. He says, in a summer with no new Bond picture, will I be considered a heretic by saying Get Smart will do just about as well?
I think I probably enjoyed them just about the same, just in different directions.
I think I liked this a lot better than Casino Royale. You know what I liked a lot better about this than Casino Royale is that Anne Hathaway is fine, And she's awesome. And in Casino Royale, like, doesn't the girlfriend die in some sad, pathetic way where you're like, oh, there goes the woman?
Yeah, no, I don't think she makes it to the end. But isn't that pretty standard for a lot of Bond girls?
Yeah, Bond women just don't get to survive. So I think that was kind of exciting that, you know, we got to see a female sidekick who holds her own and isn't going to die.
And isn't going to die and gets a little cute puppy at the end.
Oh my god. Well, and it was the puppy he was looking at the beginning.
Oh, that's right! When they have their meet cute. Yeah. I forgot about that.
It was really cute. So, okay, some of the political stuff is coming up here, and we already talked about some of the jokes that have not aged well. Ebert has an interesting paragraph. I'll just go ahead and read it. He writes, "It raises another question, too, and here I will be the gloom monger at the festivities. Remember right after 9/11 when we wondered if Hollywood would ever again be able to depict terrorist attacks as entertainment?" I'm going to pause there because that was the top priority to be thinking about at the moment.
Like, oh, this is going to ruin the tour. Like, that's the vibe of
Damn it, throw out all those screen lights. Okay, Roger. Anyway, he continues, "How long ago that must have been, since now we are blowing up presidents and cities as a plot device for Maxwell Smart. I'm not objecting, just observing. Maybe humor has a way of helping us face our demons." That's like all he says about this. He like drops that and then just walks away.
Say more about that. Like, that's a really interesting topic to pick apart and muse on for a while. Like, don't just let it go, man.
So in some ways, Manohla Darghi does say more about this. So I want to move into the politics here. And I'm going to start by going back to our Darghi article and talk about nostalgia with a leftist. All right. So like I said, nostalgia... It's interesting because I actually would normally think of nostalgia, if it's going to have any political affiliation at all, as being more conservative, more traditional, right? Because it's about looking back to the past and maybe even having a desire to recreate or preserve the past or straight up go back to it. But it's interesting because I'm seeing like a tension between like leftist nostalgia and conservative nostalgia and people who are really hooked on the old TV show. So Manohla Darghi writes, and this is the same article I read from before, I'm just going back to different pieces of it. She says, quote, "Created by Mel Brooks and Buck Henry amid a pop culture spy craze fueled by the Cold War and Ian Fleming, Max was the Borscht Belt Bond, the seemingly inexpert, ambiguously ethnic American operative who, starting in 1965 and armed with broad jokes, slapstick, and a capable female sidekick, Agent 99, Barbara Feldon, a cool number, somehow for 5 seasons managed to come out on top. He was the original Revenge of the Nerds, a goofball answer to all those Yale-schooled spooks." So I think she's saying Jewish as opposed to, like, I mean, Yale. When I hear Yale, I think of, you know, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. So I think we're talking about that era where, you know, whiteness is this very limited definition of white Anglo-Saxon Protestant versus everybody else.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of interesting. I mean, it's also interesting, too, because, like, those politics and that way of thinking about things kind of seems totally irrelevant by the time we get to 2000. Or not totally, maybe that's wrong.
Not totally irrelevant, but less...
Not how we talk about it anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I also don't know if it's completely fair to put that under leftist, but I think, like, part of my point to, like, bring in here is that there's a lot of, like... This comes up again and again, that the original show was an answer to James Bond. It was which, you know, was like big Hollywood type movie. It was an answer to, well, I actually don't know if the original James Bonds were big Hollywood movies but he's British.
Yeah, but I think they were still American-made movies, weren't they?
Oh, were they? Why'd we make him British?
Because that's fancy and cool and mysterious. I don't know. This is actually quite a contested thing. The Bond franchise started out as a British franchise. And then there was a 1954 TV adaptation of Casino Royale No, yeah, the official long-running James Bond film franchise produced by Eon Productions is British, beginning with Dr. No in 1962. So, like, James Bond, the films as we know them, is a British franchise, but there were, like, some, it sounds like TV episodic kind of James Bond adventures that kind of jumped back and forth across the pond.
Well, I think the point here is that, you know, as much as this paragraph is worded in kind of a weird way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of had to pause. I was still processing.
I did too when I read this. I was like, it's like she's trying so hard to be clever that it's actually bordering on offensive in some parts.
And I think it too, if you take off some of those things and you just look at the way she describes the character, that also doesn't seem like she's describing the character in the original. And it doesn't seem very original, because what she's really describing is like the underdog character you didn't expect to be successful turns out to come out on top. And it's like, that is one of the most tropey kind of characters in existence. So I don't understand why she's saying it's so original and new and the original Revenge of the Nerds in the first one, when it's literally a character that we have seen throughout stories since the dawn of time.
Yeah, I agree. I guess what she's saying is that it was because he's supposed to be like working for this CIA type agency and this American hero. I guess she's saying that there's an element specific to that decade that was challenging the, you know, cliche idea of the conservative Protestant Anglo-Saxon, you know, white man who would be the American hero by having somebody who's not who you would expect to be in that role.
I see.
I kind of feel like that analysis needs to be like delved into a lot more than in some quick trying to be witty phrases. Yeah. And then on top of that, you know, it's that whole criticizing like Cold War tensions and everything. And, you know, in some ways, I think maybe even in different hands, I don't know, maybe like criticizing Cold War tensions could have worked well for criticizing this post 9/11 terrorist tensions world we were living in too. So anyway, the bottom line here is that Dargis and a lot of critics say again and again that there was kind of a level of political humor that just didn't survive in the 2008 movie. But, like I said, I would normally actually think of nostalgia as being something that would fall in line with conservative values more than liberal values. And I have an article that I need you to take a deep breath for.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
This is called Those Were the Days. Remember Gunsmoke, Man from U.N.C.L.E. by Mark Patinkin in the Providence Journal. And I found it reprinted in the Daily American Republic from Poplar Bluff, Missouri on July 10th, 2008.
Those were the days. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to read to you the first couple paragraphs.
I was also just talking to my sister about Gunsmoke because my grandmother loves it.
I actually never saw Gunsmoke.
It's low-key kind of cute. It's a good, put it on in the background kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, in defense of that era of television...
Lots of good tall cowboys. You would like it, actually.
Okay. I mean, in defense of that era of television, I've enjoyed a lot of, snippets of TV shows I've seen from them. But you're not going to enjoy what this guy has to say.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, so I'm just going to start from the beginning and read a couple paragraphs. I think I'm becoming my father. He's constantly saying they don't make movies like they used to, then launching into a reverie about Stagecoach, the 1939 version. Now that was a flick. Well, the release of Get Smart in theaters has me thinking the same way. Get Smart, now that was a TV show, and from an era full of them. You had to love Smart's Cone of Silence and his shoe phone, and that time the bad guy had him hostage and told Smart he could choose the way he would die, so Smart suggested, how about old age? I think every 11-year-old boy back then wanted to be a secret agent, and would have done it had Woodstock and the counterculture not taken away the CIA's glamour.
Oh my god.
Can you tell where we're about to go here? All right, so the rest of this article is then just him reminiscing about how cool Man from U.N.C.L.E., Gunsmoke, Bonanza, Twilight Zone, and other such TV shows were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What? Gunsmoke has nothing to do with the CIA? I'm so confused.
Yeah, no, he really just used this as an excuse to talk about other shows.
Okay.
So here's a couple of quotes that I just felt we had to read out loud.
Oh, Jesus.
Ready?
No.
He writes, I had to wrestle with whether to be a spy or a cowboy, in part because of Gunsmoke. That was one of the last shows unashamed to showcase traditional gender roles. If anyone was the icon of the strong but decent male, it was Marshall Dillon, keeping the peace in Dodge City. And as another columnist once pointed out, the show's tavern manager, Miss Kitty, knew how to take a compliment without filing charges of sexual harassment. Those were the days.
She was literally a hooker. The establishment she operated was a brothel! Have you missed this, my dude?
I'm glad you've seen this show because I didn't actually know that.
Yes, because I also love Miss Kitty, because she's a strong bitch and she don't take no shit.
I have a different headline idea for Mark Patinkin for this article. How about, did women ruin television?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's like, women can't live with them. That's it. That's the tweet.
I think you're gonna have to live without them then. Alright, so regarding the Twilight Zone, he said that Rod Serling, its creator and writer, knew you didn't need a chainsaw to frighten people, which, I mean, okay, like, valid. Like, it's a different type of horror. It didn't have to be gory, sure. Regarding Bonanza, he said, though I never did get what happened to his wives. Apparently the main character had, like, 3 deceased wives. He said, I remember him being... Yeah, I never did either. Though I think Ponderosa Village, where we used to live, was named after the show. Anyway.
Love it.
Yeah. He said that he remembered this character being widowed 3 times. And then he adds, if that show was made today, it would slowly come out that he'd poisoned them or something for their insurance.
What? Again, citation needed, please. What fucking evidence do you have of this? Like, why?
Right, and I think, like, that on the heels of the Twilight Zone comment, where at first I'm like, okay, yeah, like, sure, like, you gotta respect somebody who can scare people without gore.
I agree.
Then,
Twilight Zone is an excellent series.
Yeah, I actually never saw that either. But then...
Oh my god, Laura, you would dig some episodes of the Twilight Zone.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know my rules about watching scary things.
You would have to watch them while it was still daylight outside, but you would dig them. Yeah.
Okay.
As a writer especially, I think. Yeah, anyway.
Well, but, like, that comment, though, about not needing a chainsaw kind of sours when he makes the comment about the main character from Bonanza probably, like, poisoning his wives for the insurance if it was made today, because then it starts feeling like, oh, okay, so, like, I don't, it starts feeling like this has to do with the Miss Kitty comment again, that this is just, like, we have to make men terrible. Because women ruin television.
Is he trying to insinuate Get Smart is too violent?
Yeah, I don't know. He really actually doesn't mention Get Smart after this paragraph that I read to you, so...
Great.
However, he does say, so he reminisces about being a little boy pretending to be shooting Nazis, and that was an
Cotton Hill
joke.
Oh, yeah. I forget that's from Inglourious Bastards, yeah. Killing Nazis, yeah. It's I've been watching King of the Hill, and that's how Cotton pronounces it too. He's like, killing Nazis. I killed Finnegan.
I was trying to be Brad Pitt.
Sorry. I would have got it if I hadn't been watching King of the Hill that really. Yeah.
All right, but Mark Patinkin writes, how come you don't see boys today hunting down Al-Qaeda with their lacrosse sticks?
They literally did remake Red Dawn. Is that the movie I'm thinking of?
I don't know.
They literally remade Red Dawn in 4 years later in 2012. Which is a group of teenagers coming together to, rescue their town from, the original is Soviet forces. I don't know what it is in the new one, but a group of teenagers look to save their town from an invasion of North Korean soldiers. So, he gets his wish. They literally do that.
Yeah, I just also, I think to, act as if that's, a one-to-one exchange.
Also, yeah. You're right. Exactly.
Is unrealistic and totally inappropriate. To compare World War II to the war on terrorism in the early 2000s, it's a much more complicated conversation.
That's right. You're right.
A couple more gems from this article. He says, and where are all the espionage series? I'm like, well, we were talking about Get Smart at the beginning of this story.
Chuck literally came out a year before.
Well, he says, I guess they're not realistic enough to cut it in today's more complex world. Or maybe it's that TV can't afford to pay for actors anymore. I think I'll go watch American Idol reruns.
Okay.
Do you think this guy's divorced?
Either that or he has a wife who fulfills the traditional gender roles just like Miss Kitty.
His traditional gender values are about being a prostitute.
Do you think he doesn't know? Because, like, it's one of those things where, like, they don't ever say, like, this is a brothel and the girls who work there are hookers. But, like...
But if it's a Wild West show, right? So...
Right. And, like, she hires girls whose whole job is to just sit there and talk to men and buy them drinks. And she won't hire married women. That's a big rule of hers.
Wow, do you think maybe he really just didn't put that together?
Okay, I'm thinking of that because, again, I'm rewatching King of the Hill right now. And Hank does not understand that that's what Miss Kitty does on Gunsmoke, and they're having a conversation about prostitutes, and his wife is like, you never objected to Miss Kitty on Gunsmoke, and he's like, Miss Kitty was a prostitute? Whoa! Like, he didn't clock it, because it is, I won't say it's subtle, but, like, they do not come out and say it, and so I wonder if he just really doesn't know.
That would explain something here.
Bless him.
Yeah.
Poor baby.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
I think he deserves to just sit there and rewatch his American Idol reruns.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Nostalgia. Not always a good thing. So, I want to totally switch gears now, because this is our Anne Hathaway grimoire.
Anne Hathaway!
So let's talk about Anne Hathaway in this movie. So I found an article that was all about Hathaway, and it's called A Princess Grows Up, Beloved as Hollywood's Good Girl, Actress Anne Hathaway Has a New Perspective by Jean Wolfe in the Tampa Bay Times, St. Petersburg, Florida, June 1st, 2008. I just want to say, like, from that title alone, I always bristle when I hear the phrase good girl.
Yeah.
Because it just feels a little bit like...
Pedantic
or condescending. And it reminds me of the famous, like, Ingrid Bergman quote when she says, and I'm paraphrasing here, but she says that she's been the virgin and she's been the whore and she's been back to the virgin again and she just really doesn't care anymore. And I just think that Hollywood really loves to have their good girls and their vamps, and it's like women can't have more dimension than that, and I find that really frustrating.
Mother, maiden, virgin, whore.
Exactly.
Economy, yeah.
Amy Schumer's last fuckable day.
Yeah. Oh, I love that bit.
Yeah, and I think even, like, a pull quote is, like, when they have a larger quote in the middle of the page. So there's a pull quote on this page, and, like, there's a more complicated context to the quote, but it just annoyed me that this was the phrasing they pulled out, and it was, I don't ever want to appear ungrateful, which, like, the word ungrateful with the good girl thing just made me feel like this is so, like, classic, like, women have to stay in their lane.
Ew.
Yeah, I did not like that. And I think it's interesting because watching this movie, especially right after, because Belle and I, whenever this recording comes out, Belle and I just recorded our Princess Diaries episode. It is interesting watching these back and forth. Like, you can see Anne Hathaway clearly trying to be taken seriously as, a sexy adult woman with power on screen. And you can see how this movie was really a vehicle for her to be seen that way and not just as Mia Thermopolis from the Princess Diaries.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting. But I'm just going to read, like, the first couple paragraphs of this profile on her.
Okay.
She says, people always ask me, so how do you feel about being Hollywood's good girl? Anne Hathaway says, am I? That's an easy way to sum me up. But frankly, at the end of the day, I say, there are worse things to be. After being a fantasy role model for little girls everywhere in The Princess Diaries, Hathaway, 25, wanted to be known for more than being nice. It's not that I'm all that bad, she says with a laugh. I just think that people had this idea that I sat at home and sucked on lollipops and ate cotton candy while I watched cartoons wearing a tiara. Now she's going for wacky comedy in the new movie Get Smart, out this month, packing a gun and unleashing kicks and punches as Agent 99 opposite Steve Carell's spy Maxwell Smart. But fighting in high heels wasn't her biggest challenge. Just keeping myself from cracking up with Steve nearly killed me, she says. Despite taking on decidedly adult roles in Havoc and Brokeback Mountain, Hathaway has retained her good girl image. Her charming portrayal of a beleaguered assistant in The Devil Wears Prada won her more fans and new confidence. I used to worry too much, take myself too seriously, she says. I had to learn that perfectionism slows everything down. All it does is keep you motivated by fear.
I forgot Brokeback Mountain came out in the midst of all of this.
I also forgot Devil Wears Prada was already out by this point, too.
Which, stay tuned for an episode coming on that.
So, I think it's interesting to hear her own voice about her roles, but it makes me, really sad that people are like, oh, you're a good girl, and that she actually hears that a lot.
Right. I'm sorry, but, especially after Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, so I just, I thought it was really nice to get to hear Anne Hathaway's own voice and perspective on all of this, but I think it just really sucks that it was couched by Good Girl, and, no one's feeling grateful, and just
This is especially interesting after, on the heels of our conversation about, the G rating situation for The Princess Diaries and everything.
Yeah. So I'm just, the other thing that I found kind of, a little bit frustrating, and it's interesting, too, having realized that Brokeback Mountain, Devil Wears Prada already came out before this movie, because a lot of the reviews I found only mention Anne Hathaway in a parenthetical.
Really? I mean, I get that most of the spotlight is probably on Steve Carell as the lead role in the film, but she's also a big deal.
Yeah, she is also a big deal, and she would have been a pretty big star by that point. Because at first I was reading this and I was like, oh, I guess this movie's pretty old. Maybe people hadn't seen that much of her. And it's no, she's
been out there. She's been working.
Devil Wears Prada, Princess Diaries, those were huge movies that she starred in. Brokeback Mountain was a huge movie. I know it wasn't a big part, but that's still a huge movie and a obviously very adult movie. How about I just go through a couple of those parentheticals?
Oh, okay.
Okay. We have Steve Purcell, going back to our friend from the beginning of the show.
Oh, Steve.
In parentheses, he says, Anne Hathaway, tougher than Barbara Feldon's pre-Women's Lib version, in parentheses.
Okay. Does he mean that as a compliment?
Yeah. Manola Dargis, in parentheses, leggy, pretty, harmless Anne Hathaway, in parentheses.
Harmless? She kicked Dwayne Johnson in the face. Not feminine. Smack.
Roger Ebert, going back to his review.
Roger.
The beautiful Agent 99, in parentheses, Anne Hathaway, who never tries too hard but dominates the screen effortlessly, in parentheses.
It sounds like he's saying she's a set decoration.
Going back to our David Carr article, parentheses, Anne Hathaway gets her vixen on to surprisingly convincing ends, end parenthesis.
What does that mean, surprisingly convincing ends?
I don't know, I guess he didn't think that she could be sexy enough for this or something.
There's literally a scene in Brokeback Mountain where she fucks Jake Gyllenhaal in the back of her car.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking.
Okay.
He apparently felt that thought was only worthy of a parenthetical. Yeah.
Maybe that's an inside thought, honey.
I'm also, really apologetic to everybody who's probably it's parenthesis.
Parenthesis, yes, but that's fine.
You get what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Let's see. We can go back to Christy Lemire of the Associated Press. She says, this is not a parenthetical, but she says Anne Hathaway is a far more butt-kicking Agent 99 than Barbara Feldon.
We don't have to compare them. We can just say she kicks butt.
Yeah. So Steve Purcell actually did give Hathaway more than the parenthetical. He also said that Carell never makes viewers forget Adams, but doesn't make them miss him either. Hathaway, like Feldon, only needs to look gorgeous and does.
Are we forgetting that, she's the more experienced and badass field agent? And, like, she teaches him a lot of things and helps him to learn about, like, operating in the real world. She saves his ass after he jumps out of an airplane without a fucking parachute.
We're going to go back to Kirk Honeycutt's article. He writes, Anne Hathaway, who manages to retain her beauty. She's a martial arts babe rather than an adoring coworker, as Barbara Feldon originally played the role. But that probably suits the times. So I guess he feels that's a bad addition to the story?
I love the implication that you cannot be pretty and tough. Great vibe for 2008.
I know. Okay, let's see. I'm missing the author for this one, but this was from the Daily Herald. It says, no more. Hathaway's highly experienced 99 would just as soon kick her partner in the side than put up with his constant posturing and presumption of equality with her in the field. Some of these just sound so that sounds cool and badass, but I feel like you're almost suggesting it's a bad thing. I'm going to read a longer paragraph that actually does dig into Hathaway's portrayal of this role by David Germain, writing for the Associated Press.
We had something from him about Princess Diaries.
Oh, nice. Okay, so we're back to the Associated Press, June 18th, 2008. This article is called Carell Hathaway Gets Smart as Max 99. Oh, I'm sorry. He didn't write this. This was an interview. Hathaway said this about her own role.
Oh my god, I love it. Okay.
So she says, I'm so very different from Agent 99, and the bar that Barbara Feldon set and what Barbara Feldon's 99 meant to people, I'm never going to be able to touch that. The world was in a very different place then. We needed Agent 99. When Barbara Feldon played her, we needed to see a girl who could keep up with the boys, who was smart and who was sexy while being smart. She inspired so many women. When you look at the kind of women we aspire to be today, a lot of them are very similar to Barbara Feldon's 99. There's no way I'm going to be able to touch that kind of legacy, but I do think I have good chemistry with my co-star, so that's probably what I have in common with her. I feel like it's so underselling herself. Like, I just want to be like...
We still need characters like that. We still deserve to feel inspired by female characters like Agent 99 and, like, Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, and based on what all of these other critics are saying, it sounds like Anne Hathaway's update to Agent 99 was what we really needed in 2008, even if they disagree with it. But
yeah.
I think as a 15-year-old girl, I don't think I would have actually liked this movie so much if I didn't watch it and go, wow, Anne Hathaway is so beautiful and she's so strong and she's somebody to take seriously and to respect, and she's smart and clever, and who doesn't want to be like that?
Yeah, exactly. She's really underselling herself. That's terrible.
I know. So that kind of made me sad too. Do you want to cheer us up with some tarot?
Sure. Okay. Yes, because speaking of, I've got 3, and the first one is for Agent 99.
Tarot.
She's the Queen of Swords.
Ooh,
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So, things like keywords are like unbiased intellectualism, mental clarity, maturity. These are the skills that make 99 really excel at her job in the field, even though they may like hinder her a bit in her personal life. But these are the things that keep her alive, obviously, and that keep her going and that keep her kicking ass and taking names, and that also allow her eventually to mesh well with Max, to whom we have assigned the Page of Cups.
Max is definitely a page. I get page vibes.
Max is definitely a page. Short answer, he doesn't know what the fuck he's gotten himself into, which is kind of the opposite, obviously, of 99. They're meant to be like foils as characters. But like Cups especially, because his heart is all in. He is ready to rock. But as she points out, as like the more sage Queen of Swords, this is not like a test or a skill course. It's the real world. And he has to reconcile the fact that he doesn't quite understand the difference between the two in order to succeed, in the same way that 99 has to reconcile the fact that, like, she cannot be in her personal life the same way that she is in her professional life for her personal life to succeed and be happy. So they both have an interesting kind of, like, swinging on the different sides of the spectrum of the cards that I've pulled for them, but I think it fits well. And then I did also pull one for Dwayne Johnson, because you had mentioned, we had talked a little bit about him, like, Dwayne, not The Rock Johnson, about him not being The Rock anymore, him taking on roles in film as, like, his own person and actor.
Yes, and I also have, like, a little one-paragraph story that didn't really fit in elsewhere.
You go do that first, and then we'll read his card.
I'm going to warn everybody, though, I think the one way that does kind of fit in is, like, we talked about some of the sexism in these reviews with Anne Hathaway, and this just, I mean, it's like, on the one hand, you think by 2008, we're going to be a lot more sophisticated in how we talk about people. On the other hand, you look back and you're like, yeah, it was 2008, like, we hadn't figured a lot of shit out. So, just to warn you, I think this fits in with, the kind of discriminatory talk in that it brings in a layer of homophobia.
Oh, yeah.
This is called Screen Test Dwayne Johnson by Allison S. Cohn, writing for the New York Times on August 8th, 2008. And she writes, "What is it with our poster boys and dishing about kissing gods?" I have no idea what she's referring to. Like, I don't know if there was... I don't know. I don't know what that's referring to. Anyway, continuing. Yeah. Today, on the new homepage of T Magazine's website, watch our latest screen test video featuring the Get Smart supporting actor Dwayne Johnson, who speaks publicly for the first time on how he totally, quote, felt something, quote, smooching Steve Carell. Though he had ample opportunity in his former careers, professional wrestling and college football, to get close to other men, the contact back then presumably didn't involve a lot of kissing. These days, the artist...
That's a bold assumption, but okay.
These days, the artist formerly known as The Rock is a little closer to realizing his dream of being a cross between Harrison Ford and Elvis Presley, or at least a self-deprecating comedian like Gene Wilder. Goodbye, WWE moniker. Hello, Hollywood. That's it. That's the whole story.
That's it. That's the tweet. So you told me a little bit about this because we were talking earlier before we got on, and she was like, "I'm finishing up my notes," and I'm like, "I'm finishing up the tarot." And you had told me you had this kind of thing about him trying to, be in the film industry and getting away from the WWE and all of that. So this is a card for Dwayne Johnson, not Agent 23 or The Rock. He is the Chariot. So according to the Biddy Tarot, who is one of my favorite online authorities on tarot and tarot as a subject and learning it and that sort of thing, she writes, for people who have pulled that card, you have set your objectives and are now channeling your inner power with a fierce dedication to bring them to fruition. When you apply discipline, commitment, and willpower to achieve your goals, you will succeed. So then, to quote Dwayne Johnson himself, "It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour." Put in the work, put in the hours, take what's ours. I don't know if you're familiar with that little bit of meme, but yeah, that seems appropriate for this moment in his career.
I love it.
Good for him. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, that was the last review I have. Do you have any closing thoughts about Get Smart?
I forgot how funny the Swiss Army knife was.
Oh, the Swiss Army knife was ridiculous.
Every time he pulls it out, I'm like, are you sure this is a good idea?
No, it's not a good idea. It's never a good idea.
Oh, and then I have a few little notes. Like, I love I do love silly spy gadgets. Like the exploding dental floss. So cool. The shoe phone. So cool.
I love the shoe phone, especially since I love the scene when he's running while talking on the shoe phone, and I'm like, he's running with only one shoe on.
I had that same thought, and I was like, I did not have this thought last time I watched this movie. It's just now I'm like, does he only have one shoe on? So good. And the cone of silence, I love a silly spy spoof. I love a silly spy gadget. It's a good classic vibe, and I love Anne Hathaway being a badass in this movie.
And I think it's interesting that we talked about some of the shortcomings of the film in addressing some of the political concerns that some of the critics brought up, but there are also shortcomings in the critics' own attempts at addressing these political concerns.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of commentary that really falls short or even falls on the insensitive side. But there was a quote from the Anne Hathaway profile that I thought would be really nice to end on, because I read it and I was like, I loved hearing that, and I just feel like somebody out there listening to this also needs to hear this today, and so I thought maybe that would be a nice place to end.
I love it.
Shall I?
Yes.
So Anne Hathaway says, there's something that, growing up, my mom would say to me, and I say it back to her a lot. We're fairly dramatic people, and we're prone to very big feelings. So, when those very big feelings sometimes aren't the most positive thing, we just look at each other, and we say, choose joy. Choose joy, Belle. Choose joy, listeners.
You can find your Silver Nitrate Witches on various online platforms at LJ Valenza and at Bellang303. Thanks to Fine Motor for the use of their songs Highway Moon and Movie. You can check out more about the band at finemotormusic.com. Thanks for listening. Stay witchy and keep watching movies.
On the dark side, shine the light. You can try, but you won't.